Have you ever rooted so hard for an underdog? Like, just screaming at your television, emotionally invested in their struggle for years, only to find yourself inexplicably annoyed by them the second they actually win?
Oh, yeah. It's a very real thing.
Right. I mean, what happens when 18,000 people cheer you as the ultimate hero on a Saturday, and then by Monday, those exact same fans are booing you out of the building?
It's wild. It really is.
It is wild. So, welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are exploring a really fascinating psychological phenomenon for you through a massive case study on the life cycle of the quote-unquote underdog in sports entertainment.
Yeah, and it really is one of the most difficult transitions in any form of storytelling.
Absolutely.
We're tracking a 10-year chase for glory here, and we're pulling from a pretty big stack of sources, including, Sports Illustrated features, the Sportster match analyses, and some intensely heated fan forum debates.
Very heated.
Because achieving your ultimate dream is one thing, right? Surviving the reality of being the champion, when the whole world is suddenly scrutinizing your every move, is an entirely different, highly toxic battle.
Yeah. So let's set the stage for you. We are looking at the immediate aftermath of the June 27th, 2026 Night of Champions Premium Live event. This was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Incredible crowd for that one.
Absolutely rabid crowd. And in front of them, Sami Zayn did the impossible. He stepped into this massive main event triple threat match against the reigning champion Cody Rhodes and, the notoriously brutal ring general Gunther.
Which is terrifying.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But against all odds, Sami captured his first ever WWE championship.
A literal decade in the making. I mean, this is the culmination of a career built on almost making it, but constantly reeling short.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the way this victory actually went down is incredibly cinematic. Our sources highlight this brilliant piece of foreshadowing from a YouTube clip way back in 2023. Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn are standing in the ring, and Cody explicitly tells Sami to, quote, finish his story.
Right, which became Cody's whole catchphrase later.
Exactly. And fast forward 3 years to Riyadh, and the irony is staggering. Sami finally finished his story, but he had to defeat Cody Rhodes to do it. He didn't do it by overpowering him either. He countered Cody's signature finishing move, the Crossroads, into a roll-up.
Right.
Which, for those who don't know, is essentially a desperate, opportunistic pinning combination. You just trap your opponent's legs long enough for the referee to count to 3. It was pure survival.
Pure survival. And the emotional aftermath of that 3 count was just palpable. The sources describe this incredibly poignant post-match scene where Sami Zayn is sitting in the ring, completely speechless, just clutching the championship.
It's taking it all in.
Exactly. And the crowd just roars, you deserve it. And Sami emphatically agrees with them into the microphone.
Yeah, he tells the interviewer he doesn't care what happens tomorrow or next week because he is, now and forever, a WWE champion.
It was the perfect cathartic ending to a 10-year movie.
But, the credits don't roll in live television.
Yo, they do not.
Tomorrow always comes, the show goes on. Sami says he's a champion forever, but in wrestling, forever lasts until Monday night.
Right, exactly.
The moment he held up that belt, an invisible target was painted on his back. And that brings us to a seemingly contradictory reality that we really need to dig into.
Let's do it.
If Sami is this ultimate underdog, the lovable hero who finally conquered his demons, why have arenas full of fans been actively booing him in the months leading up to this triumph?
I love looking at this because it gets to the absolute core of audience psychology. The fans are essentially rejecting the premise they're being sold.
Well, Sami actually tried to address this head-on right during the taped July 3rd episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, he did.
He opened the show, standing in the middle of the ring, and explicitly acknowledged the crowd's hostility. He noted he's been getting booed for 6 months. But instead of getting angry, he leaned into this sort of self-righteousness. He claimed he refused to be petty or cutthroat, calling himself the last real good guy.
Yeah, the last real good guy.
He argued that holding the championship proves he never had to compromise his morals to reach the top.
What's fascinating here is how the fan base completely dissects that last real good guy narrative.
Oh, they tore it apart.
They really did. If we dive into the Reddit thread provided in our sources, there is this incredibly intense debate about what constitutes a legitimate underdog. The fans draw a direct, highly critical comparison between Sami Zayn and arguably the greatest underdog in modern wrestling history,
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan.
So for anyone who might not follow the deep lore,
Hmm.
why is Daniel Bryan the gold standard here, and why does Sami fail that specific test for these fans?
Well, the fans in this thread point out that after Daniel Bryan had his massive career-defining WrestleMania 30 moment, the crowd never turned on him. And they theorize this comes down to two major factors. First, Bryan's underdog status was tragically preserved by legitimate, real-life injuries.
Oh, right, because he would win the title, get severely hurt, and then be forced to vacate it and disappear from television.
Exactly. It created a genuine sense of unfairness that kept fans desperately wanting him to succeed.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And second, the scripted storyline actually matched his reality. He was fighting the authority, the actual on-screen corporate bosses who constantly stack the deck against him with insurmountable odds.
Basically, the fans knew his struggle was real, both behind the scenes and in the script.
Yeah.
The narrative alignment was perfect.
Precisely the opposite of how they view Sami's current run.
Interesting.
The Reddit users argue that Sami has claimed the underdog label for years, but his actual career trajectory doesn't reflect that struggle anymore. I mean, we're talking about a performer who is constantly featured on television. He's held multiple championships. But the most damning critique from the fans is that Sami has been taking prime, highly coveted WrestleMania spots away from rising, genuinely beloved stars.
They bring up WrestleMania 42 specifically, right?
They do. They point to Sami defeating Chad Gable and then later Carmelo Hayes on the biggest stages possible.
Right.
The prevailing sentiment is that you cannot call yourself an oppressed underdog when you are consistently beating the next generation of underdogs just to maintain your spot at the top of the card.
Yeah, it's like a friend who constantly complains they never catch a break in life, but they just won the lottery twice in a row.
Exactly.
At some point, your complaints lose all validity. You can't claim the system is holding you down when you are actively stepping on the people below you to stay elevated.
Right.
You are just a top-tier guy who complains. Which makes you ask, is the company writing the show misunderstanding what an underdog actually is, or is the audience just incredibly fickle?
Well, looking at both sides of that debate objectively from the sources, and we aren't endorsing either side here, just reporting the discussion, there's validity to both.
Sure.
Wrestling fans are historically impatient, right? The moment a performer reaches the mountaintop, the audience often immediately starts scouting for the next person to root for.
It's the thrill of the chase.
Exactly. However, the structural argument made in these forums holds serious weight. Remaining a pure hero, what the industry calls a baby face, without evolving your character creates massive friction.
Yeah.
If you keep hitting the exact same emotional note of, I almost had it, I'm still fighting from underneath, while you simultaneously hold championships and headline premium events, the audience experiences severe cognitive dissonance.
The narrative they're being told just fundamentally clashes with the reality they're watching on their screens.
And that audience rejection creates a fascinating nightmare behind the scenes.
Really bad.
When the fans start turning on your newly crowned champion, the writers have to scramble. The scripted narrative, the booking, has to pivot instantly.
Right, because Sami's unexpected win forced massive, rapid creative shifts. Because the underdog is no longer the chaser. He is the chased.
He holds the most valuable commodity in the company, and the predators are already circling.
We saw that instantly on SmackDown. Sami's in the ring giving his last real good guy speech, and suddenly Cody Rhodes marches out.
Right.
Cody claims he just wants to give Sami his flowers, a sign of respect for a hard-fought battle.
Oh.
But Sami completely rejects the gesture. He tells Cody to drop the benevolent facade and admit he's only out there because he's desperate to get his championship back.
Which is a brilliant character detail. Sami is paranoid.
Yeah.
Before Cody can even defend himself, Jey Uso interrupts.
Oh, man.
Jey announces he is there on Bloodline business, threatening to take the title back to his incredibly dominant, mafia-like family faction.
So within minutes of his first appearance as champion, Sami is trapped between a desperate former champion and a representative of the most dangerous group in the company.
That's a lot.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because the authority figures didn't stretch this out for months.
No, they did not.
Acting General Manager Adam Pearce, who is currently running the show while Nick Aldis is on administrative leave, he steps out and immediately capitalizes on the chaos.
Right then and there.
He books a main event right on the spot. Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso, with the winner securing a title shot against Sami. Cody wins that match, which instantly sets up a massive undisputed WWE Championship match for the July 6th episode of Raw in Chicago.
The sheer velocity of this storytelling is staggering.
It's so fast.
Think about the psychological shift here. Just weeks before Night of Champions, Cody looked Sami in the eye and arrogantly declared that as long as he was champion, Sami would never touch the belt.
Right.
Cody was the untouchable gatekeeper. Now the roles are completely inverted. Cody is the one without the gold, scrambling in high-stakes TV matches just to earn a chance to fight Sami. They are accelerating the build to August's SummerSlam event much faster than anyone anticipated.
I have to push back on this, though, considering the fan psychology we just unpacked.
Okay, let's hear it.
By immediately granting Cody Rhodes a #1 contenders match and having him win it the very same week he lost the title, doesn't that completely validate the complaints from that Reddit thread?
Oh, totally.
Right, because the fans are screaming that the same Golden Boys dominate the title picture no matter what. Cody loses the belt, and in less than 5 days, he's instantly the focal point of the championship scene again.
It absolutely feeds into that critique. When the forum users complain about the struggle feeling unearned, this rapid-fire booking is exactly what they mean.
Right.
The machine protects its top investments. But looking at it from a business and narrative perspective, the writers have to strike while the iron is hot. Cody versus Sami has layers of genuine pre-existing tension.
They have a long history.
They do. They are longtime on-screen friends, they possess incredible verbal chemistry, and their rivalry has been simmering all through 2026.
It grounds Sami's very first title defense in a deeply personal narrative, rather than just throwing a random villain at him.
Precisely. It forces Sami to immediately prove the victory in Saudi Arabia wasn't just a lucky roll-up. If he wants to be recognized as a legitimate champion, he has to beat the face of the company on live television.
He has to prove he actually belongs at the summit, not that he just found a back door to the top.
Exactly.
But Cody is merely the first major hurdle. The fascinating thing about the SmackDown roster right now is how perfectly it's built to exploit every single one of Sami's insecurities.
Oh, it's brutal.
Winning that belt means every enemy you've ever made suddenly has a multi-million-dollar reason to step up.
The landscape of Friday nights has turned into an absolute minefield for him.
Let's look at the threats outlined in the Sportster article because each one tests a different psychological weakness of Sami's character. First up, you have Finn Balor. Finn is an absolute icon of NXT WWE's developmental brand, and he just moved over to SmackDown. He's carrying a massive chip on his shoulder after being attacked backstage by Tama Tonga, but the detail the article highlights that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Despite his legendary status and years in the company, Finn Balor has never challenged for the WWE Championship.
Which is an incredible statistic that directly attacks Sami's core narrative.
Oh, yeah.
Because Sami complains about being overlooked, right? But Finn Balor is the godfather of an entire generation of talent who has literally never been given a shot at the top prize.
That's a great point.
A first-time singles feud between these two would force Sami to face someone who actually has a legitimate grievance with the company's hierarchy.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And then you have the rumor mill swirling about CM Punk.
Oh, Punk.
Punk is expected to return to SmackDown, and the sources emphasize the incredible in-ring chemistry he and Sami showcased during their television matches back in 2025.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, CM Punk is the absolute worst possible opponent for a champion struggling with fan perception.
Why is that?
Because Punk thrives on blurring the lines between hero and villain. He is a master at weaponizing a crowd's shifting loyalty.
Oh, right.
If the fans are already starting to boo Sami, CM Punk will manipulate that underlying resentment and orchestrate a hostile takeover of Sami's remaining fan base.
He'd steal his fans right in front of him.
Exactly.
And speaking of underlying resentment, we have to talk about Carmelo Hayes. Hayes is currently wrapped up in a feud with Trick Williams, but he carries a massive, unresolved revenge storyline with Sami.
Right, from WrestleMania.
Right. We mentioned earlier that Sami took his spot. Sami defeated Carmelo for the United States title on the road to WrestleMania 42, actively playing the spoiler while the crowd chanted, "We want Mello."
This is the true moral test for Sami's reign. This is where the last real good guy persona will live or die. If Sami is backed into a corner defending his world title against a young, hungry, universally beloved star like Carmelo Hayes, how does he retain it?
That's the big question.
If the pressure becomes too much and Sami resorts to cheating, like if he pulls the referee, uses a weapon, or cuts a corner to deprive Hayes of a career-making victory, it would trigger a brilliant, entirely justified character corruption.
What the industry calls a heel turn. The hero finally becoming the villain.
Exactly. It would be the ultimate tragic evolution, the good guy who justifies doing horrible things because he's convinced himself he deserves to stay on top and that the ungrateful fans forced his hand.
That is Shakespearean-level storytelling.
It really is.
But even if Sami manages to navigate the political and psychological warfare of Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Carmelo Hayes, there is a literal physical giant looming over the entire division, Obafemi.
Oh, man, Obafemi.
The sources note a crucial detail from earlier in the day at the Night of Champions. Oba defeated Jey Uso to win the 2026 King of the Ring tournament.
Which comes with a massive stipulation. Winning King of the Ring guarantees Obafemi a world title match at SummerSlam in August.
So it's not just a potential threat, it's a hard deadline. Sami's clock is ticking incredibly loudly.
Ticking very loud.
Obafemi is booked as an unstoppable force of nature. So even if Sami survives the gauntlet of his peers, he has a scheduled collision with a monster at the second biggest show of the entire calendar year.
It creates this overwhelming sense of dread for the champion.
So what does this all mean? We have a champion who is simultaneously fighting his own fans, fighting his peers, and fighting the future of the company.
Right.
But the sources throw in one ultimate emotional wildcard that we absolutely cannot ignore: Kevin Owens.
The quintessential ghost of Sami Zayn's past.
Exactly. Their legacies are permanently, irrevocably intertwined in WWE history. They broke into the business together. They've won tag team titles in the main event of WrestleMania together. They've betrayed each other and fought each other in brutal matches endlessly for over a decade. But Kevin Owens has been off television for over a year, recovering from major neck surgery.
Which is a huge factor.
Right. The article points out that if Owens miraculously returns, it would set up the perfect first-time ever one-on-one world title feud between these two best friends.
It's the tragedy of inevitable conflict. For Sami Zayn to truly cement himself as a legendary champion, he needs defining challengers.
Right.
Obafemi provides the insurmountable physical obstacle. Carmelo Hayes provides the moral test. But Kevin Owens provides the devastating emotional weight.
Yeah, that emotional weight is heavy.
Fighting your best friend who is returning from a career-threatening injury, knowing you have to hurt him to keep your dream alive, that is the match that absolutely has to happen if Sami manages to hold on to this belt.
It's a gauntlet that almost seems designed to break him. Let's step back and look at the entire picture we've painted for you today.
It's a lot.
You have Sami Zayn, a man who poured his heart into chasing the ultimate prize for 10 grueling years. He finally achieves his crowning moment in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Pure magic, confetti falling, a dream realized. But the very next morning, the crushing weight of reality sets in. He instantly finds himself defending his crown against the face of the company in Chicago.
Yep.
He's battling severe fan fatigue and very real accusations of suppressing younger talent. And he is staring down a roster of absolute killers, from an impending King of the Ring to the ghosts of his own past.
It really highlights a fascinating universal truth about both sports and entertainment. The chase is almost always more beloved than the reign.
Absolutely.
The struggle is inherently human, right? It's relatable. We all know what it feels like to fall short. But success, especially sustained high-level success, often breeds resentment and isolation.
It changes things.
It does. The thought I would leave you with to mull over is this. Is it actually possible for a career-long underdog to transition into a dominant defending champion without eventually turning into the exact type of entitled villain they spent their whole life fighting against? Can the underdog survive at the top of the food chain without growing fangs?
That is a phenomenal question. Once you finally catch the prize, does holding on to it require you to compromise everything that made you worthy of it in the first place?
Right.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the complex, often toxic world of the sports entertainment underdog. We encourage you to keep questioning the narratives unfolding in front of you, whether they are in a wrestling ring, on a movie screen, or anywhere else. Because the most complicated, fascinating